old. Okay.
So Jenna, I'm gonna start with you. What were your top 5 spiritual gifts?
Okay, so my top 5: discernment, mercy, hospitality, exhortation, pastor, and shepherd.
Okay. So was there any one of those that surprised you?
The pastor, shepherd definitely surprised me, but the other 4 were pretty on the mark.
Okay. What was the top one? Discernment?
Discernment.
Tell me what what you thought of when you heard that.
Well, what I thought of was I can read people or read situations well. And I look to God in those situations.
What did you think when you hear her talk about her spiritual gifts? Can you think of anything growing up with her that kind of say, "Oh yeah, that's right"? Anything that you saw or witnessed? Just
for me, I would say exhortation. She's more of a external person, like as far as the encouraging for other people. Like the aid of like you can do it, or try to give them key points on like what they're good at to be able to produce.
When I think about discernment, because it's like you feel strongly, and I think in order to discern, you kind of have to take on the emotions of the other people. What are your thoughts about that?
That is very true. I'm more emotional than most, I think, but I take on a lot of emotions. Even where I work, I've been trying to figure out how to, I guess, relieve those emotions. So I've started journaling just names and saying, Lord, you know what it is, to try to give it to God, those emotions, because it can be a lot.
Right. Jess, what about you? What were your top 5?
My top 5 were teaching, pastor, shepherd, discernment, mercy, and craftsmanship.
Was that spot on for you, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple of them haven't changed. The new ones for me was craftsmanship, pastoring, and teaching. But mercy and discernment have always been on my top.
Tell me a story. Can you think of anything growing up about your sister where you saw those gifts in action?
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, say
Say it again.
Okay, so pastor, teaching, craftsmanship, mercy, and discernment.
Discernment. Jesse's always asking questions.
Okay.
And it's like, if it doesn't make sense, it's like, that's not right. And then craftsman, she is a giver in doing or making things for people.
Okay.
She sends gifts to people that she's made. Christmas, she's made us gifts, and they're really like memorable, nice gifts, The teaching as a kid, I don't know, as a kid, but lately doing the Faithful Fridays, like that shocked me. I didn't know that was a gift she had, and it's a powerful thing, and that she does. Yeah.
So are there any gifts that you guys identified recently or before that you were kind of hesitant in walking into, either one of you?
For me, the pastor and shepherd, I didn't know that was a gift. Sometimes I'll talk to people on the street, or even people will come up to me. I remember being on the bus going to, I used to do nursing training with USC MedCorps, and people would always come up to me and tell me their story. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like I had one lady follow me 3 buses. I don't think she was going the same place I was going, but she just followed me and just shared her story. So I prayed over her, and she was gone about her way, but I didn't know that I was operating in my gift.
Anything you guys want to add?
Well, I didn't go. I didn't answer your question towards her.
Okay.
My hesitation.
Your hesitation.
So mine was, okay, so I have 2. One of my top was discernment, and it's been something that has never changed. And I can see that for myself, but my difficulty behind it is sometimes people will see it as can see it as negative or see it as a judgment if you're trying to correct someone or if you're trying to question someone's motives or intentions or their actions. So sometimes it's like, well, do I say something because now they're going to come at me and thinking, you know, I'm being hard on them.
Right.
So that one's kind of difficult, but also with the teaching, initially it was mostly hesitating because once you put yourself out, especially biblically, people can come down on you about being correct or being just vocal in general about my Christianity, my faith, what I believe, or also having a hard time of knowing that I'm biblically correct. That is where it becomes hesitating.
You know, I think about where, you know, the Bible's talking about the gifts, but they talk about the greatest of these are, what do they say? Love. Yeah. So whatever gift you're operating in, if there's not love behind it, it can come off as kind of judgmental or mind your own business or that kind of thing. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So what are your gifts?
So my gifts were leadership, apostleship, exhortation, mercy, and discernment.
Any of your gifts you were aware and knew, yes, I'm working in this gift?
Leadership is one, and that was my top one. The funny thing is like I'm not like an extrovert or anything, and I'm not like a people person. And even growing up, it surprised me because it started me to think, can you move into a gift, like something you didn't feel, you know, that you had previously? You know, can God move you into that, you know, as you grow and things like that? So that was that's something that I operated in. You know, I think mercy, I've always felt for people that, you know, were struggling, and that's kind of why I got into social work and probation and stuff like that, just being able to kind of you know help people.
Yeah. So apostleship, that's a gift. What does that look like for you?
That's weird, you know, because I know when you think about apostles in the Bible, it's like men who started churches and stuff like that. But for me, it's like I like to start programs and different ministries and businesses and stuff like that. So it's like establishing things and then walking away. And I think that's kind of how it fits in for me.
How does that work together with leadership if it's just to start and then
move?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's you start something. You know, I kind of see it as apostles are visionaries. So you start it and you get it to a place where it's stable, but then what you do is you're always ministering or serving the people that you hand it off to, you know, checking in with them, how are things going, that type of thing. You know, and I think the best leaders are not people that have to direct the thing, but they start people rolling and they kind of take their hands off and they're just kind of there, you know, for assistance. Yeah.
Do you think as a leader it's important to help those that you're leading to understand their gifts so you can push them into where they need to be?
Yeah, no, and I think that's exciting. What pastors trying to do right now is trying to help people to identify their gifts, because, you know, one of the things he's talked about is we have people working. So we're not short on people being willing, but are people operating in their gifts where they're going to do their best? So I think identification and then, you know, encouraging people to develop their gifts. And that's one of the things that he's actually doing is he wants to not assign people to specific projects, but to start developing leaders. And then, you know, once they've identified their gift, once you kind of develop as a leader, you can kind of just take your hands off, and really the ministry starts to run itself.
How do you use exhortation in developing someone's gift when they're hesitant with it or uncertain how to use it?
You know, it was weird for me to get exhortation. You know, I know one of the things that for me is I appreciate exhortation. You know, one of the things I always tell my wife is I want a cheerleader, cheerlead me, you know. and I think sometimes when when something is your gift, sometimes you need that as well. But just encouraging people that they can, do, what they've been called to do. And for me, not micromanage people. What if they've identified that gift and you see that gift in them, just let them know. Just, you can do this. You're a teacher. You're not just a teacher online. You're a teacher with a mic. You're a teacher everywhere. So, that's a gift you have, and don't walk away from it. All right, so let's start with you, Lady Roz. What would you identify as your main gifts?
Exhortation, so encouraging people, teaching, organization.
Really? So let me ask you, because I see some wide eyes. You heard what she just said. Exhortation. She's talked about organization. Your thoughts on that?
I'm not in the organization. Is not my gift.
No, but you just heard your wife say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, I agree.
Okay.
With
you
her.
better.
I don't have to. But here's the thing, and this is interesting because gifts can be conflicting. You know how they say opposites attract? Well, I love organization. I appreciate organization. I just can't stay organized.
Okay.
And so I have to have a room in the house that's a junk room. It's usually not a public room, but I need some space to be junky.
Okay.
I need some space and then I'll clean it all up and it'll be nice and neat.
For an hour.
For a little while.
For an hour?
No, it'll be longer than an hour. It'll be longer than an hour. It'll be days. But I need that space. That's who I am.
So you were preaching about today how iron sharpens iron.
Right. I make her better.
Right. You make her better. And how the body of Christ, people clash.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about how different gifts maybe can connect in the body, but also clash in the body.
So I said I would never have a closet with him.
Okay.
Because my stuff has to be organized.
It's like extra though.
Right. Okay.
It's extra to him. But it's normal for me.
Right? But speak about that in the church, how gifts clash.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that the problem becomes when we expect people to think and act like we are. Like we act or think. So when we aren't accepting of their gifts, like it's much easier. Well, not easier. It's best for our relationship if she just accepts I have to have this cluttered space. And I accept that she has to have organized space. But the problem is sometimes, and this happens in the church too, some people can be like me. Like I can sometimes enjoy making her uncomfortable with her gift. Like she wants all the labels turned the same way and stuff. So, I'll put things out of order somewhere just to...
On purpose.
Just to see. But I think sometimes that happens even in the church as well, that people have a tendency or personality to be antagonistic. And I don't think that's what God calls us to do. So
also, I think people who it can also be a conflict with people who have the same gifts, the same gifting, and they expect someone to do it the way they do. For example, one of the things she's gonna say, why do you talk about me? But one of the things is like my daughter, right? When people say, oh, you sound like your mom, or you sing da 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 da, and they're going on and on. And I had to tell her one time, don't allow people to make you feel like you have to do it the way I do it. You are you have a gift, and your gift is beautiful. You do not have to do it the way I do it. You are not me. And don't expect to use your gift the way I use mine. And so I had to keep talking to her to bring her down and not allow people to make her feel like she has to do it the way I do it because I'm her mother.
So you can have the same gift operating in the church, but people doing it in a different way.
Ways. Yes.
And again, I think we have to be accepting of that. Not that the expectation that you use your gift the same way that someone else uses their gift. And when you don't have that freedom, people who wants to use your gift when it's going to be criticized.
Right.
and compare to someone else because it's never good enough. So I think we have to have that freedom, and that's my desire and plan here, is that we give that freedom for people to be different, even if they have the same gifts. And opposite gifts are complementary. Like her organization, I do love it. I really do. I just can't maintain it, but it makes me comfortable. It makes me comfortable to not have the house disheveled, to have a place for everything. It's just that I can be organized, but I want to make the mess, and then when I finish, I'm gonna go back and put it away. But she doesn't have that space for me to, be me and just wait for me to go back and put it away.
No, because
I'm gonna put it away. It's just not on her time frame.
So tell us about your top 5.
My top 5 were pastoring, teaching, mercy. What did I tell you the other one was? Pastor, teaching,
exhortation,
mercy, exhortation, and I forget what the 5th one was. But they were all accurate in my assessment of who I am and my personality and where I feel most comfortable in doing. My problem becomes sometimes as pastor is that you can do other things, maybe not as well. So I spend too much time doing the other things I think need to supplement my gifts to make those things come into play instead of relaxing and doing what I do.
Right.
And letting God take care of the rest and provide the people to do the rest. And I think the body as a whole, our church suffers for it. And so I think the body as a whole can suffer when we're all doing other stuff than being okay with what we have.
We were talking about earlier when we were interviewing how when we were younger, just me, I didn't necessarily recognize that I had a gift of leadership until like later in my life. Do you find that similar in people, that sometimes they come into their gifts?
Yeah, I think
because we weren't taught about those gifts as children, coming up. So we didn't know that they were there. We didn't know how to develop them and use them until we got older. Then they started teaching about the giftings of the Spirit. And so now, we're teaching the younger generation about them so they're able to know more earlier and begin to see how God is directing their lives. And some of them, I know in my Bible study, I look at some of the young ladies and that's what they do on a 9-to-5 job. And now they can see, oh wow, they're working in their giftings outside of the body, right? But they're doing those things that God has naturally put in them and gifted them to do.
So this question, you talked about if your gifts fit your personality, but sometimes I feel that my personality doesn't really fit my gift. I can operate in my gift, but I'm not always comfortable, or when I'm not operating in my gift, I'm totally different than that. What is that?
That's you.
That's just me. Okay. I'm just an anomaly.
No, I wouldn't say that as an anomaly. There are probably a lot of people who are like that.
Because Jess is a teacher, but she's not always comfortable teaching.
And I think it's because part of it is because even though you're gifted in an area, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be developed. Right? So like, I'm uncomfortable pastoring. I'm uncomfortable preaching. And if I have to preach somewhere else, I am like a nervous wreck. But it's my gift, and I get through it, and usually it goes well. But I think that oftentimes we're uncomfortable because we don't operate in it enough to grow it. And just because you're gifted doesn't mean that it can't be perfected.
It's not second nature to us yet. And I think those things that become second nature is easier for us to do. That doesn't mean that sometimes you don't get a little fearful, because you don't ever want to go out there in your own knowledge, right? Or without the Holy Spirit anointing. But you still get more, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get in it.